Hello and welcome to the EPROM9. Now, can someone throw something in the chat when they know this is working? Because, well, YouTube being YouTube and all. Then I know I've got viewers and everything's all working as it should. Right, turn off display capture for now because I don't have anything to show on the display. I don't see anything over on the chat, but there does seem to be a massive delay between me saying something and it appearing on here. But yeah, you can't seem to activate your stream from your thing now, which is annoying. Right, let's go to my channel and see if it's live there. Yes, it is. That is working. That's live there. Let's grab a URL. I know, this is like the sort of thing I should have done beforehand, but you know how it is. Organisation at its finest. What the hell is this crap? Who the hell knows? Oh, pictures of the doggy. I miss him. Doggies are the best. Can't beat dogs. Dogs are awesome. The cat people have a fair argument on their end, but I'm a dog guy, so I'm always going to favour dogs. Jesus fucking Christ, everything slowed down all of a sudden. My laptop does not like multitasking running OBS, it seems. Why is there two variants of it running? Okay, we'll kill him because he's definitely eating valuable resources. Why does Control A not work on fucking Facebook, you piece of shit? Control A. Thank you. Oh, that's nice. How typical. The link YouTube give me doesn't work. What a fucking surprise. Well done, YouTube. Well done for being shit once again. Well done. I applaud your absolute being a complete turdness. Oh my fucking God. How is it such a bloody mega rich corporation has such shit service? Right, we'll do it this way. There we go. So there's the real URL, not that bullshit URL it gave me, but that's working because I just heard my god awful voice. Right, okay, so that is, yeah. That's working alright. We still have no comments, so I don't actually know if we've actually got any viewers yet, so that's fun. So I'm going to continue just doing all the preparation for if we actually get any viewers, because as we know, everything EPROM9 no fucker watches, which is both a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing because you're not likely to get any of the social justice warrior bastards come along and try and destroy you, and it's a curse because no one ever pays attention to anything you do. Hang on, let's refresh out that. Yes, leave page. And it's a curse because, well, when you actually do want to get something out, especially if it's something important, you can't. You're kind of screwed. Right. Here we go. Oh, Jesus Christ, even Facebook's being a bit shitty. This is the trouble. This is one thing I don't hear a lot of people talking about, but a lot of the tech companies like Facebook, YouTube, Google with YouTube have actually capped their bandwidth, and thus their throughput at the moment is absolute shit. You know, I've got a decent broadband connection to my house because I've got fibre to my house, and I've got like 60 odd megs of broadband, and that is still working as it should. That's working an absolute bloody treat. But it doesn't help when there are people who are supplying you a service cap their own services and literally turn themselves to like Internet of 2006 crap, where broadband was still pretty new and you were doing well if you had like up to a meg in speed back then. You know, I remember the big thing of like getting 10 meg speed back then, and it's sort of gotten itself to a point now where it's actually, oh for fuck's sake, Facebook, you piece of shit, you can't even save a sodding carriage return character in your memory, you goddamn useless bastard. Just a little oh, it feels good to rant again. I do love a good rant, let's be honest. Go back to the old videos. Some of my favourite videos to make were the rant videos where I just get unnecessarily and exaggeratedly angry. There is just something fun about getting unnecessarily angry about asinine crap on the internet. It's just so much fun. And until you do it, you don't realise how much fun it is. What's this? Error. YouTube is not receiving it. Oh, well done, YouTube! Well done! You kept your own bandwidth to the point it can't even give Smooth the video. Well done! Ah dear, you stupid bastards. Because OBS, it's like, yeah, it's in the green, it's good. Because we're not relying on mobile internet off my work phone that we did when we first moved in. Because that's just what we had to do. And that is the ridiculous thing. Do we have any viewers? Do we actually have... Apparently we have 2 viewers. So if your 2 viewers are actually real, put something in the little chat box. And I should see it come up. I should. I need to know if that chat box is working. I'm going to check it on another source because I do not trust that chat box. I trust it's shit. Because so far we've discovered a lot of things with YouTube are shit this evening. In fact, lately with the whole COVID, or I like to call it the CCP virus that's off someone else on the internet, it's just the perfect name for it. Or you could also call it the Winnie the Pooh virus, but that might confuse the younger audience. You don't want to confuse like the babies and that. You want them to know its origins. The CCP virus, most definitely. Right, let's go through this shitty UI that they made. They've made it less shitty, but they made it really shitty and then slowly made it less shitty over the years. But yeah, it's a funny put a bloody dark mode in. Do we have any chat comments there? Nope. We don't have too bad latency, so yeah. I'm assuming one viewer has vanished off the thing, so I'm assuming they never existed. Oh, we're back to 2 again. Someone stick something in the chat. I need to know if these viewers are real or if they're just bullshit Google figures. Because Google does like its bullshit fake figures. I'm sure you guys have access to a keyboard of some sort. For God's sakes, this is a channel based on mostly technology crap. I know keyboards aren't a subject we actually do. I'm going to stick to the live video so I can actually see what's going on. But yeah, I've had to swap back to the good old Dell. What model is this thing? Someone else has it. Model AT102W. Which is actually a mechanical keyboard, and it's actually really quite good. But my PC has a PS2 port. Because my other keyboard, I kind of broke it when I got angry with the computer and need to fix it. This keyboard, which is also mechanical, had it for a few years now. Yeah, I brought the space bar, and now the E key has died, or one of those keys. Also, this is a bit flippity-flippity in the breeze because that's held together with glue now. Yeah. When I get angry at computers, I get angry and break things. But it's not usually the keyboard that's the victim of my destruction. It's usually the mouse. However, I've managed not to throw this mouse at the wall because I would actually have to pay 50 quid or something on a new mouse of equivalent. I got it at Maplins when Maplins was shutting down, so it was actually pretty damn dirt cheap. It was like £10 or something. It's just like, ooh, a mouse that usually is like 60 quid going for a tenner? Hell yes. Ooh, you got a glimpse of the lasery thing in there then. Apparently it's a laser in there. IR. Now, I wonder, hang on, there's something I've got to test. Does this produce a beam then? Oh, it'd help if I put it on the right side. Ha! That actually produces a focused beam! That is a proper laser. Nice. So that isn't just marketing crap on the bottom of laser. It is actually a laser in here. That is actually oh, we have, yay, we have a viewer, we have a real viewer. Hallelujah. Probably only about one, but that'll do. We have managed to get up to, I'm hoping we can break one of my previous records of 6 concurrent viewers at once. That would be amazing. Wouldn't it be amazing if we could get to 10? Actually get into double-digit territory? Wouldn't that just be amazing? Triple-digit territory, I don't think we'll ever get that. So apparently we still have few videos. Check video resolution, which is not optimal. Yeah, YouTube, you can fucking deal with it as far as I'm concerned. BBC Acorn. Yes, I do have one of those. I'm not sure which one. I don't know how the hell you can tell on a webcam, but yes, there is actually some of those in the back. I hope to play some Granny's Garden in this lockdown. Yes, I see what you're doing. I actually have that on the BBC Micro, which doesn't have too much crap sitting on it, so I can actually get it out. I should do a stream where I hook up like a PlayStation and that to an input thing. Here we go. Baby me. It's all on the MMC SD card doohickey, because here on the EPROM9 we do not believe in real world piracy, and we pirate the shit out of everything. Good old piracy. It's a beautiful thing. And then we have 4 Acorn Electrons on this shelf over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We have an Acorn Electron in a drawer and a workbench there that's to do with my Acorn Electron portable, ATA style portable project. But yeah, all good stuff. But yeah, it would be fun to do a stream like that just for the hell of it, and doing something like Granny's Garden on that stream would be good, because that game offers so many paedophilia jokes. It is a paedophilia joke goldmine. It is beautiful. I actually rewatched the video I did on that, and it was pretty hilarious at how I was just ridiculing the shit out of everything all the time. The witch has got you. Now I will send you. Yeah, that was what I was thinking. Now I was. Yes, sending me home, such a punishment to where I've got all my workshop and game consoles and that. I'll just casually amuse myself on those. You know, they could have made it sound. They could have made her sound a little more sinister. Now I will eat you, and there's just yes, do it, yeah. I haven't got the setup for it. Well, I can't be asked to do the setup now, but certainly on a future stream, why not? But I suppose we should get into like one of the first things, which is the whole how secure are we? I don't know if you actually saw that fly past the camera, but it's more fun if it's a surprise. Like, it's appeared on. Has this one appeared on YouTube? I don't know. I lose track of what I've shown on YouTube and what I haven't. I'm sure you can see where this is going. Yes, a gas mask. Because why the hell not? Why not wear one of my GIMP masks randomly? This one pressurises actually really well. No. The nice thing is it fits my head quite nicely. The only thing is the oronasal cup doesn't fit my face perfectly. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, my skin's very red, but that might just be the camera. I have just got out of the bath, though. Right, let's see what the comments are. I'm making a Silent Hill cam map for 7 co-op Half-Life mod in this lockdown. Ah, yes! Ah, map making. It is tremendous fun. I'm actually currently working on a distance map, which is another game I love. I have made some videos on it. No, I'm not going to keep this on because... No sense sounding like muffled pyro when there's no need, but it is kind of fun to wear it every so round. Yeah, but... Yeah, I've actually got this computer back set up for Portal 2 level modding again, so... Every so often I jump into that and do a bit more on a grand map I'm working on that's going to be quite extensive, especially on the story front, certainly more than... Oh, there's the dog hair inside. Funny how dog hairs literally get absolutely everywhere. But yeah, I hope all you guys have Star Plus military gas masks. These FP5 filters are basically impossible to get hold of now. Would you ever shave your hair? If I start getting bald patches appearing, then I'm going to more seriously consider it. But otherwise, while I've got a full head of hair, I'm going to exploit that to its fullest. But I don't know whether in a decade's time my DNA and hormones will decide, fuck you, head of hair! You can have hair down there, but fuck having a head of hair, no. So if I end up with like a Friar Tuck patch there, I might experiment with some like crazy sort of things. But if that happens, I am growing a Gandalf beard. There is nothing to stop me from doing that. Unless there's another pandemic that happens in that period, which requires me to need to wear a gas mask so I don't end up getting ill. But yeah, so far me and my family have managed to stay safe, which is good. You know. Turns out wearing a gas mask on the underground and ending up as front page news was actually quite a very good idea, because military grade filters, they can protect you from fucking nuclear weapons. Well, fallout particles, as well as chemical weapons, but blister agents and nerve agents, you need a full NBC suit, and I don't know. I could. Oh shit! I don't want you to tear. I could. This has appeared on videos in the past. I could get in this for a chemical attack, and I'll probably be a nerve agent's attack, and I could probably get myself out the zone. But whether this would offer enough protection, I don't know, because it's cheap and made of plastic. Technically, it's disposable, but it might, in this climate with the whole COVID. Might actually be worth wearing this when going shopping in Tesco's, because that is easy to decontaminate. That is very easy to decontaminate compared to standard clothes. If you build it, they will come. There'll be more viewers. That's a reference to something, and I can't remember what. Have you ever considered doing voice work? No, I do not have the voice for radio or anything like that, and I'm actually play some of my Portal 2 level modding maps, especially, and to get an idea of how terrible my actual voice acting is. Hang on, let me go to workshop. No, community. Workshop. I should be doing this on the laptop, but the laptop isn't logged into Steam, so you're just gonna have, yeah, your files. Yes, please. I thought that said Aiden there. It's like, what the hell? You want the Portal 2 map, Android Hell 2, and you'll get an idea of exactly how terrible my voice acting is. But hey, I tried! And I'm going to be doing more voice acting, because, well, why the hell not? I don't have anyone else to utilise for it. And I can probably actually use Audacity to make my voice sound more robotic, and thus hide the shittiness. Gaben, yeah, I always find it funny where it's like Gaben Valve. It's just, and I'll type in the chat how it just sounds to my brain. Yeah, that's how it sounds to my brain, and that just sets off that whole teenage part of my brain that's just like gay. Sort of ironic, I know. Can I add you on Steam? Yeah, go for it. It's basically my YouTube handle, but only with latex at the end. But latex is done as a separate word, like this. Oh yes, we can do the old-fashioned way of screen capture. That works for me. Then my distance map. Android Hell 2 is this one. So now you've got a rough idea what you're looking for. But yeah, if you want to do the whole Steam friend request, do that. I don't recommend inviting me to groups on Steam, because I had people who did that, and the amount of spam I got from it was unbelievable, that I just don't accept group invites anymore to groups on Steam. So I don't recommend doing that, because that'll just get ignored. But friend request, yeah, that's fine. It would actually be nice to actually have a friend request that actually turns into someone you play with on a fairly play with someone on a regular. But I wouldn't mind playing with someone on a regular basis in that kind of way. But yeah, COVID has kind of or the CCP virus has kind of literally kicked the shit out of those plans for the foreseeable future, which is a real bitch. But in the sort of thing of games, yeah, it would be nice to actually have a more regular companion. In fact, there's something that's appeared up here now. Oh, one new invite. What's this? Ah, friend invite. Yeah, that's fine. So that one's been accepted. Received invites. What's this one? What the? So apparently I invited something to someone and they never accepted it, and it's still pending. I don't even remember doing this. Oh, that was you. Okay, that makes sense. Just like see it randomly on there. It's just like, yes, do that. Here's a game I absolutely love and like to mod for. Distance. It's awesome. It's based on Nitronic Rush, and I did do a video on Nitronic Rush a long time ago. So, you know, do the usual search and look that stuff up. In fact, do that, because that's actually good to actually get people watching stuff. Especially gaming content. No one ever watches much in the way of gaming content. I find most of the time that's completely pointless to make, because it's like you can put in a whole ton of effort into a video and no one watches the bloody thing. I know most of my gaming content is pretty shit, but hey, I found my feet in the end on sort of more electronically nerdy things like Geiger counters, and people seem to love the vintage computer restorations, and I do actually, and I will spoil the surprise because I don't know when I'm actually going to get round to this. I was hoping I'd have gotten round to it already, but nope, that has not happened. I do have one of these that thankfully is broken. I have verified it is broken, and I'm going to restore it. And the COVID epidemic is certainly a good opportunity to restore this rather nice TI-99 4A. There's not going to be much I can do about the physical, but the electronic side of things is the way I like to go. Yes, Windows 7 is the desktop PC. This one's Windows 7. My other laptop, which is in my bedroom, runs on Linux primarily, but I do have a Windows 10 hard drive for it floating around somewhere. I'm not sure where I've put it at the moment, but I don't really want to lose that. But yeah, Macs and Linux really aren't for games. That's why this PC here runs on Windows 7, and I will continue running it on Windows 7 for the foreseeable indefinite future, because it runs games. And there's also a few other little things on 7 that I just like the way it works, like importing pictures and that from my Fuji camera and that kind of jazz, that when you do it on Windows 10 it tries and divides it up into all these folders which are date organised, and no, I just want one batch of photos to be in one folder, not organised by date or any nonsense like that. The timestamps are all in the photos, and I don't really care too much about the timestamps. Yeah, Windows just does run games better. You know, I've actually done a comparison where I've literally run Nitronic Rush or Half-Life or something. That's it, Half-Life 2 on my laptop in my bedroom, and it runs perfectly. I swap over to my Linux hard drive and I run the same game, and the Linux hard drive actually has an advantage because it runs on a 500 gig SSD. And what happens? It runs like complete crap. It runs like it used to run on my old laptop from 2006, which is now dead and currently sitting in this box down here under a pile of other laptops, because this whole grey crate thing down there is filled to the brim with laptops. And that's not even all the laptops, because there's that one, which has 2 laptops in it. There's the laptop next door. There's this laptop that I'm using for the stream. And all that good jazz. It's just like, Linux does not run games at all well. Linux is still a crap gaming platform. You can run old games like the original Half-Life and that, but to run modern games on Linux is like, it's a lost cause. There really is no decent alternative to Windows for games. It just doesn't exist. Which is a shame. You can do video editing on Linux now, thanks to, what's it called? Not OBS, Shotcut. Shotcut video editor. Open source video editor, really good. It's about bloody times one of those came about. Shotcut is absolutely brilliant, and I'd recommend it to anyone who wants to do YouTube stuff, rather than having to either pirate a proper video editing suite or pay for it. Because a lot of the go-to ones that a lot of people like seem to be the Sony Pro Vegas, which is actually pretty decent. I actually quite like the Sony Pro Vegas. But the Adobe, anything made by Adobe, even Adobe Acrobat now, is shit. I hate it. It's so overly complicated and horrible to use. I just find it the worst thing in the world. There's more fun to be had in gouging your eyes out with plastic forks than dealing with anything made by Adobe. And on that note, where is that? There's the radioactive lens. Let's get a smoke alarm as well and play with some radioactive shit, because playing with radioactive shit's fun. Yeah, everyone in the family's good so far, which is good. How many viewers do we have? Let's move you out the way. We have 3! We're not up to 10 yet. We're not even up to 5. So we're not anywhere near breaking any new records. I am similar. I have laptops too. Yeah. I also have way too many desktops, and I don't have all the desktops I used to, because I have given so many of them away. In fact, I gave two to my ex just to get rid of them because I didn't need them or want them really. But I have several desktops. There's 3 jammed under there in that little cubby hole where you'd normally put the main PC. There's my main PC, which is my hodgepodge-like thing. There's another 3 PCs there. We've got this nice Sun Microsystems Ultra 5 thing that needs a funky keyboard for that I don't have, so it's just sat there. We have another half-built one there. We have another all-in-one one there, Pentium 4. And then we have another desktop PC here, which is what I'm going to use as my server. And then, of course, we have the 80s machines, which we have a 1991 machine up the top there. Then, of course, we've got IBM and all the vintage computers. Then we have a 95 all-in-one machine there. So, yeah. I have a lot of desktop machines as well. Far too many. And I wouldn't be too hard pressed to cull the herd some more on my desktops. Oh, I just found another laptop. I forgot he was down there. There we go. Another laptop to the pile. You know, because I've worked out I have over 40 machines. I have over about somewhere in the 40 range of vintage computers, and in the modern computers it's about the same. So I probably have somewhere in the region of about 80 computers in total. I've never counted them all up, but it will come to something ridiculous like that. I mean, it's like the classic thing. It's like I have a increasing collection of gas masks, which in the current climate turns out to actually be quite useful, because I got enough to go around my family. In fact, 2 are actually at my parents' house with the parents, with all this shenanigans going on. I hope my mum is wearing hers at work, because she works in a supermarket and the infected are bound to flood in there and spread the plague. But I do actually have enough of this shit to go around my family, which is the most important thing. We have another thing on, what's this? One unread chat message. I will look at chat on Steam later. Alienware MX11, but has crappy screen and a couple of MacBooks. Nothing wrong with that. Although the nice thing is you can always plug in it. If you can get a docking bay, then you can plug in some decent external screens. I mean, my highest resolution display is actually a shitty laptop screen that you can see where my finger is, that I pulled off that Sony laptop that I could not find how to do the BIOS reset on. And that project just ended up going absolutely nowhere. And then after that it's 1080p monitors, where I only have 2 1080p monitors. I say only. One I found for free. Woo! Because uni threw it out. I suppose I could class my TV in my bedroom as a monitor, because I brought it because it has all the ports for game consoles and stuff on, and that's currently... That is literally has just a PlayStation 2 and a VCR DVD combo hooked up to it. But I was planning to just use it for playing PlayStation 2 when I was ill, but so far the only time I've switched it on was just to test the setup works, and it's never been switched on since I moved in almost a year ago now. And the downstairs setup, my dad wanted to upgrade to some new whiz-bang smart TV, newfangled 4K OLED thing. I was just like, I'll have the old one! So I got that one downstairs, which is just like filled to the brim with all my game consoles. Because that's all I use them for, is gaming machine monitors. I could happily desolder the tuner from them and be quite happy, but I will leave it in. But there's no point, because it's actually kind of useful to have the RF for hooking up to these. Otherwise, the I don't know why my house really needs an RF antenna system, to be honest, because I don't bloody watch TV. I was a cleaner at Pure Gym when the gyms had to close up, and I was shitting myself. Yeah, I don't blame you there. That's where having something like this would have been really handy. And actually, I'm in quite a fortunate position on that front, because while I'm permanently working from home now, I do still have a job that has me on the payroll, which is absolutely brilliant. Because, well, only getting 80% of my wage would make it difficult to pay things like the mortgage, food, bills and all that. That would probably actually lead me to... 80% of my wages would probably lead me to just breaking even every month, which would be absolutely terrifying. So if there's one thing I'm glad on, and I'm actually in a really fortunate position here, and I am aware of that, not only do I have savings, but I also still am on full payroll, getting money in, and saving a fuck ton, not having to pay for fucking southeastern trains. I got an old school boxy CRT, 15 quid. Good on ya! It's always good when you can get something like that. I'm guessing you're a bit of a Mac collector, whereas the only Apple product that exists in this house is my iPod Touch in my bedroom, which barely gets used these days, although occasionally I do pull it out and play some of the games on it now, because some of those touchscreen games are actually kind of fun. They did release a really shit version of Crash Kart on it that's terrible. On Marketplace, I have no clue what this Marketplace is, but it sounds like another second-handy type thing like eBay, and I should definitely check it out for retro computer goodness. Because if you're getting stuff for 15 quid on there, then that's a good sign. But then I got the TI-99 for... how much did I pay for that? It was either 20 or 30 quid. I think it was 30 quid, which was a bit more than I wanted to pay, but they usually go for a lot more than that. No, we want purchases. eBay on the mobile phone is both the best thing in the world and the worst. It's the best thing because I can do my eBay binging nonsense anywhere, and it's the worst thing because I can do my eBay binging nonsense everywhere, so I cannot escape. I have a bit of an addiction to ordering crap like this far too. I probably spent way too much money on that, but hey, I'm earning, so you know that's it. Yeah, $32.50 was the price, but then it's $7.50 postage. Postage is always where they get you. Yeah, that's a... Oh yeah, I've got a Geiger counter on the way. Another Geiger counter with the Geiger counter collection. Speaking of Geiger counters, remember... Oh shit, there's a fork down there. Oh, and I just put the dishwasher on. Cock. The plates that I had sitting up there fell off and... God damn it. Now I've got a dirty fork that should be in the dishwasher. Hang on, the dishwasher takes like 3 hours to complete its cycle. I'm going to quickly throw this fork in. Okay, the fork problem has been solved. I'm sure we've all been there. Those of us who have dishwashers anyway, because not everyone has a dishwasher. It's a bit of a luxury appliance. Which for me, who hates, well, even if I was dirt poor, I would get a dishwasher one way or another. In fact, actually, I found one on the street in London that was like worked free to take, and if I'd have been in desperate need of a dishwasher, I'd have taken that dishwasher and got it home on that train. One way or another. I got a computer supply base unit 2, but it's got a very loud ass power supply. Yeah, that'd be the fan. Sometimes you want to change the fan. Do you like pot noodles? Yeah, they vary from actually quite nice to absolutely terrible. You know, the old Lister joke about pot noodle reigns true, where it's just like, we've got a curry, we've got a pot noodle, and dog food. It's like, I know what I'm eating last, the pot noodle. There are some which are absolutely terrible, and there are others which are actually quite nice. And one thing that always makes a terrible pot noodle taste nice is just pour a fuck ton of sugar in there, and suddenly it tastes good. And then you're happy, because you got yummy, 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 yummy sugary pot noodle. What is the solution to making everything taste nice? Just make it sweet. That is a question I don't know the answer to. But yeah, and you do get some which are actually quite nice, and I actually have some pot noodles down in the cupboard which I brought specifically because of this whole, you need a emergency food because you don't know how much is going out. People are buying far too much crap that they don't need, and literally killing the supply chains, and well, basically making it difficult to get basic food. And I am going to have to go out for supply shopping this week, so I am going to have to, I don't know if I'm going to need the full chemical suit, but I will certainly be wearing this with this rather nice filter. I wouldn't recommend wearing them with the filters they come with, because the filters they come with, while it's not confirmed, they probably do contain asbestos. Now, back to the Geiger counter, because I keep getting distracted on other rambly topics. So, those of you who watched the video on the teardown of this will recognise this beauty. It's a rather nice piece of English engineering, very 1970s construction inside. This one looks like it was built in the 90s, which for the type of construction in there really did surprise me, because this does not have 1990s construction. This has 1970s design construction, which tells me this was designed many, many decades ago in the Cold War, and the design was just never updated. Do you ever play Hugo House of Horrors? I have not played that many text adventure games at all. I know of it, and that's about as far as it goes. And then what I did was build a alpha probe for it, because there's actually a nice thing. This is the great thing about living as near as we do to the Ruskies, is all the beautiful military surplus from the USSR. Oh my god, it's amazing. Once again, too much is spent on it. You know, like on, it's buried under a load of stuff, but a nice vintage scientific calculator. You guessed it, from the USSR. They're so cheap and janky, it's beautiful. Unfortunately, I broke it when I'm trying to fix it. So I need to buy another one. Yep, that's my solution. Buy another one. That one could go on the shelf or something. Or just live in its box. So the probe I brought for this was a MST-17 Geiger tube. Yes, I know it's been delivered. I want to look at the picture to show people what it looks like. MST-17 Geiger counter tube. Is the camera going to focus? Kind of no. $17, which isn't about 13 quid, which isn't a bad price actually. But actually a really good price when you consider it's an alpha probe that can detect alpha. So here's what it looks like. I don't know if they did a shot of the alpha window. Came in a nice little box, which I cut up and used to pack this. So it would go inside the probe. So the instruction manual comes with it. That's over there on the workbench. There's what the alpha probe end looks like. That's why I brought the smoke alarm over, because I want to demo it. So we'll close that, eBay. because we don't want to tempt ourselves with more old military surplus. Hello, Red. And we shall fire him up. So we go on to bat test. Yeah, the batteries are good. EHT. It's picking up the smoke alarm, but it's sitting right next to the smoke alarm, isn't it? Centralizer, GMG. Apparently this guy... Apparently... Toy noise this makes is when the tube shorts because you have the voltage too high. I only know that because of Weapons and Stuff YouTube channel where he's a guy who's obsessed with gas masks. So I can relate to that. I can relate to being obsessed with gas masks because they are pretty damn cool. You know, anything military surplus is. So we will put him... I can't really put him anywhere where the camera can see him. So we'll just put him on the lap. But you can hear him ticking away. Oh yeah, you can definitely hear him ticking away. Oh yeah, defos. So, we want to measure something radioactive. So, is this lens radioactive? It is the Super Takumar f1.4. Now, those of you who know photography know the answer to this already. You know I know. What happens when we put it to the Geiger probe with just the beta window on, which only has a tiny little hole for alpha? Ooh, the Geiger counter goes up to about 50 counts a second. Okay, so what if we remove the alpha window cover? You can just about make out the little electrode in there. This is where it goes crazy. I just gave it away. We're almost up to 200 counts, and if we extend the lens so it's closer to the probe, in other words, put it on infinity focus, we're at a point where it's literally almost above 200 counts a second. Maybe not quite. And what's in this lens? Thorium-232. Why did they put thorium in a lens? Two reasons. One major reason, which pretty much explains it, is thorium-232 change... Oh, you off to bed? Night night. Change the refractive index, which I would suggest you Google it because explaining it is really difficult. But basically, when you want to change the directions of light to focus, it turns out to be really important. And it also means they can get away with using 7 elements in this lens, which is one less element of glass, which reduces the price. I put graphite on the roof. Ah yes, graphite from the core. That stuff is lethal. Now, let's show you what it does with a smoke alarm, because this is the first time I've actually been able to actually demonstrate this, because this is now my alpha probe. I actually have something that can detect alpha that didn't cost a sodding fortune. Why these are cheap? Because they're actually for lab grade stuff and run on a higher voltage that not all Geiger counters can support. But this beastie, he's compatible with photo multipliers, so he can supply the high voltages required. Too bad I can't get my photo multiplier working. Do you have a current gen system? No, I don't have a PS4 or Xbone. They're nice consoles. My brother's got a PS4 and we had some great fun playing the Crash Trilogy game. So, there we go, just randomly taking apart smoke alarms because why the hell not? Some people would say you shouldn't try this at home, but I say fuck that shit. Try what you want at home, just know the risks. And take responsibility for whatever harm may come to yourself. But yeah, we had some fun playing Crash. So let's first show you what it sounds like with the beta alpha blocker plate on. So it'll only let the betas through. Now this one gives a lot more clicks than my DP66 in my bedroom. Yes, I keep a DP66 in my bedroom. But you can hear, it's probably similar click rate when it has the alpha can't get through. So that's like gammas and betas, which there aren't really a lot in a smoke alarm. But it's when you take the alpha window off that things get a little more interesting. Listen to this. It's not as hot as the Thorium 232, but we get up to about 50 counts a second. And they're fairly high energy because I can hear the little sparks inside the Geiger tube, which tells me they're pretty high energy particles actually. They're just alpha, so they don't travel very far. It's not until you get to, say about 10 centimetres that it starts picking up the alpha particles. And then of course when you put it right on it, then it goes up to 50 counts a second. And that's not even touching the element. There it is. Doesn't matter showing it close to the camera, because that's not going to contaminate it. So I want to do a follow-up to Dave Jones' EEV blog video on smoke alarms. And I'm going to use this, but I'm also going to use it as an opportunity to do a video actually dismantling and taking the radioactive source out of the smoke alarm. Because I've got 3 of these. This one I found at the side of the road in London on someone's wall waiting to be thrown away. The other 2 are actually from the parents' house when I decided I want a radioactive source. I've noticed that our smoke alarms are technically out of date. Let's inform the parents of this. They'll replace the smoke alarms and I'll keep the old ones. And that turned out to be a very successful tactic. Plus they've got better, more up-to-date smoke alarms, which are basically the same as these, because this design has been being used for about 2 decades now, from at least the 2000, probably going into the 90s. This is actually a really old design now. But it works. So we turn off my clickety-click Geiger counter friend, because despite being obsessed with radiation instrumentation, I don't actually own a lot of radioactive items. A few smoke alarms and that lens. Which, this is actually really good, because not only does it take really nice photos, but you can get, it makes an excellent test source because it's pretty hot. It's not crazy hot, but it is pretty hot, you know. It's not something you want to sleep with strapped to your head for eternity, because you probably would get a nasty tumour from that or something. So yeah, that's one thing to always take into account playing with radioactive materials. There is a risk involved. So, but most of the stuff will poison you before it kills you via the radiation. So it's going to explode. Smoke alarms contain it's plutonium. No, the actual material is not weapons grade plutonium. It says what it is in here. It's americium-241. Now what I don't know off the top of my head is whether that's a naturally generated isotope or whether that is something that actually is created in reactors. I don't know that one off the top of my head. You'd have to look. I don't see much point just looking that up now, when any one of you who are on a computer can just literally Google this stuff and find out the answer. There you go, americium-241. That's the spelling. Pause the video, do whatever, so you can bang it into Google and go from there. The model is an EI-141 smoke alarm. These are even used in some commercial installations, I've seen them, but they're pretty much used in every... Builders love these things, I don't know why, but they're in my house. That's how I know they're still relevant. You know, there's one there, there's one downstairs, then there's 2 more in the kitchen, but the heat one is by the same company that makes this. And the carbon monoxide one, I don't know, but it's hooked into the same system. because they're all mains powered, and then you just have the 9-volt battery as a sort of power redundancy backup. And all that good jazz. Right, let's have another drink. I'm thirsty. Mad shit, lad. It's like, yeah, that's pretty true. And hence I ended up in the newspaper. Front page news. I'm going to have to frame this up on the wall or something at some point. But yeah, that's me. Actually on the, more specifically, the Jubilee line in London at Southwark Station. Because I was heading off to a Splunk exam at the time. In my PMG Russian gas mask. Cold War Soviet military star class to the rescue again. I wouldn't recommend wearing them with the filters they come with though, because those filters do have asbestos in. Are you self-isolating? I'm just working from home, so might as well be. Yeah, I am basically just out of my own safety pretty much, because this thing eats the lining of your lungs, and there have been people who are younger than me who have died of it in the UK. And for all the people who say this is no worse than the flu, because flu does about 30,000 deaths a year. Shall we look at the total deaths caused by coronavirus? And these are the known ones, because China was fucking covering its figures up. So the death toll was a lot higher than this. Apparently in China there's 22,000 less mobile phone users. That gives you an idea of the real death toll. Because where did they all go? They're all fucking dead from bloody CCP virus. So if we go up to the graph, the total death count now is 37,609 in what? About 3 to 4 months? That's a pretty fucking high death toll. In fact, you can probably look at death tolls from the roads in a year and probably find that it's probably comparable to something like that. And the death toll's only going to get worse. And the UK, we're in the scary bit of the exponential, where it keeps going up and up and up and up and up. Italy's has actually started slowing down now, thank God. Poor Italians. Breaks my heart when I see the videos of all the military trucks just in a massive convoy carting out the dead to places unknown. That is just so sad. But yeah, I am basically self-isolating for my own safety, and when I go out, seriously, if you have one of these, fucking wear it, because by not getting sick, you can't pass it on to other people and make them sick, and then they pass it on. As well as just generally staying indoors and not doing necessary and keeping away from people if you do go out for like a walk or something, to keep your sanity, because that is difficult in this day and age. In fact, I swear I'm starting to lose my sanity, because when I was downstairs refilling my drink, as I quite often do, I heard strange, like, robotic dog barking noises from upstairs, and the dog isn't even in the house, and I don't have any robot dogs in the house. Then, a few days ago, I was walking past the top of the stairs, and what do I hear? I hear the fucking seaside seagulls, the sea going just for a second. The wind. What the fuck's that all about? Why did the randomness of like the sea? So I swear I'm going fucking bonkers, just trapped away in this house on my own. I swear I'm losing my mind. I really don't see what else it could be. I'm wondering if it's some form of cabin fever that's setting in. I have to look up the symptoms of that. Yeah, is that really fucking scary? Yeah, that's one of the worst things. It does solidify as the lung lining is basically eaten away. And it's pretty much a crapshoot whether you end up being the ones who just gets mild symptoms or ends up with your lungs being completely eaten away from the inside and thus ending up in intensive care. But the intensive care beds are running out, so it's quite likely you could just end up just dying with no help whatsoever. Yeah, that's what it does. You basically drown on fluids in your lungs and then it solidifies, so you can't even get it out. You know, at least when it stays liquid, your body can actually exfiltrate it. Have you seen the video of that old lady going on about how she doesn't care about the virus? No, but if that is how her attitude, she's going to be one of the ones who gets infected and ends up dying from the thing. And she'll give a shit then, when it's too late. She'll give a shit then when she can't get an intensive care bed, when the doctors decide, you're an old lady who's had your time, and we've got a young father of two who's on his own, who needs that ventilator. Sorry, lady, but that father of two is more important to society as a whole, so we're going to take you off the ventilator to put him on it. Because that's literally what it's turned into. And there's a few clever ideas. People on YouTube, you're finding it all over the place, come out all sorts of rather inventive ideas to the ventilator problem. Oakley dokes. Enjoy and have a good night. So that will be, how many viewers are we on? We're on 3 viewers, but yeah, it's absolutely bloody terrifying what the hell's going on with the corona and just what it does to your lungs, because, you know, all that good jazz. What was that thing I wanted to look up? I've already forgotten it. I was going to look it up then. What was that thing I said I was going to look up? Someone put it in the comments because I don't remember, which is most annoying. This beauty, which those of you will recognise who watched my latest video, has pretty much fulfilled his video quota of the teardown. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Thoughts on what? If you put specifically my thoughts, I can give you them if I know anything about the subject. But this thing has fulfilled. Oh look, you can see the lens, shiny bit lens at the back reflecting back at you. This thing's fulfilled his video quota, so he can probably go back out to the shed. But he does actually still work. Vidicom CCTV camera. Looks almost like a piece of broadcasting equipment from the 1970s. You'll be forgiven for thinking that it's not. The CCTV mount is C-mount, that's it. I forgot what it was in the middle of the video. But it's C-mount, it's quite a common mount actually. There's a few other modern lens mounts for CCTV cameras for the smaller sensors. I forget what they are. These are the 1/3 size sensors, the C-mount ones, so he can go back there next to the Geiger counter. Scratch my leg. But yeah, you need to put what you want me to hear my thoughts on. But yeah, it is terrifying. But yeah, if you can, get yourself a gas mask. There's a lot of still Warsaw packed GP5s and that kind of stuff on eBay that you can get cheap. I would recommend picking up those, although I'm not 100% sure exactly what to do about the filter, because filters are the thing that's selling out. But you can occasionally find filters that work. I should do this on the laptop because then you can actually see it. I wouldn't trust made in China, but yeah, there are still options. Like if you got that Polish one with the bag for about 30 quid, that would be a good one actually, because that comes with a filter by the looks of it, and a nice carry bag. So things like that are good to get, but the filters are getting hard to get. But if you can only get a NATO filter and a thing, I will show you a thing you can do. There's a bit of a hacky workaround, because the NATO filters from I think the 60s actually don't have asbestos in. So here's a NATO Drago German filter, West German filter from the 1980s. These are safe to use. So say you've got your Warsaw Pact gas mask and you want to use it. Well, the threads won't let you screw it in completely. So what you do is you pop off your sticker and break the seal like you always want to. I always store them like this because it stops them wearing out. The filters will usually have a rubber washer in the top. You always want to keep that. You never want to throw these away. So you take out the filter, the rubber washer, you pop it in the mask like that, and then you can screw your NATO filter into your GOST mask, and the washer will give you that extra little few millimeters you need to get a decent seal most of the time. It's not 100%, but it's better than nothing. And if you can only get NATO filters, the NATO filters that aren't crazy expensive, this is the thing to do. It's not necessarily the sort of thing you want to do in a chemical attack, but it does work. It does pressurise, you can see. Now if you've got something that smells, you want to spray it around the edge like deodorant or aftershave or banana oil or something. Then if you can smell it coming through, you know it doesn't work. So that's what to do, because you can still get some NATO thread filters that are cheap, that fit. So for example, if we do P3 filter, Scott P3 filter, there are some of these that you can get for, they have been marked up in price, but you can get some of these for a decent price, and these were £9 when I last looked at them. They've gone up. So you can look at, say, Scott P3, and they actually use the NATO threads, and you can do that little trick to get it. If your filter doesn't come with an end cap with a rubber washer, use the rubber washer from the Warsaw Pact. Some of the GP5 ones have a solid disc, so you might need to cut a hole in the washer. So that's always something worth doing. You know, you basically got to improvise and hope for the best. Oh God, the focus has gone up buggery creek. This is one of the annoying things of cameras. So I'm going to pop that filter back together because I kind of want to save this filter because, well, you never know. In this climate, you just don't know how bad it's going to get. So I kind of want to not use the filters until I need to. Or I can put this on a mask, give it to a family member, and then they can use it. So that's kind of why I don't want to use it all up. So we put him back in his box, and he can go back in my bedroom where I'm currently storing my spare filters, which is literally on top of my expensive scanner for scanning film. The scanner that I spent way too much money on, but it's a good scanner. I will be back. You probably heard the toilet flush, so you guess what I did there. Right, where's the other check gas mask, because I want to show what the asbestos filters look like. Here we go. I've taken a real liking to these Czech gas masks. Has everyone buggered off because there's no commentary on the chats? What is the time? Apparently 11 according to that clock. Apparently midnight according to that clock. Fucking daylight saving times. It just confuses everything. So here we have a Czech CM3 gas mask. Looks quite funky actually. Looks quite creepy actually, this one. Let's show you what it looks like on my head. This one actually fits me really well. This one gets a better fit than the other ones. So I look a bit more creepy. You won't be able to hear me as well because this thing doesn't have a voice diaphragm in it like the Czech CM4. The other thing this one does is it tends to steam up because there's no way for oral nasal cup type thing. But at least there's the fiducial tube things, whatever they're called, that go to the lenses. So I can do a certain degree of de-steaming. But the trouble is with this mask, it doesn't make it very practical for me as I can't really put the glasses on it. You know, the Czech CM4, I can balance them on the voice diaphragm. So this isn't a practical mask for me to use. That's why I use the PNG or this Czech CM4. Because I can wear my glasses with it and thus you know, you can see train timetables and stuff. But that's getting off topic. So, here we have one of the Czech CM4 masks. So it might be worth actually trying to get hold of one of these Warsaw packs with a filter and bag and all that. This paper's dying because they usually come with the caps on, and the caps have a washer inside that you can use for that exact same purpose. But what do the asbestos filters look like, I hear you asking? Not that there's anyone in the chat that seems to be asking that, but never mind. We'll just pretend you are. It'll be difficult to show. In fact, it's probably going to be impossible because of the way lighting works on these things. But you can kind of see the filter actually. It's got that sort of very papery GP5 look to it, and then if we compare that to a modern filter, you can see you've got a more modern HEPA filter type thing. So if it doesn't look like a HEPA filter like in this, then run on the assumption it has asbestos in. And some of these filters you get do have, some of them don't come with these caps and the rubber washers, which is really annoying. But if you can get something that does have that, go for it, because you can use that washer to basically hack a NATO filter on a Warsaw thing, because getting safe Warsaw GOST filters are difficult. I'm lucky I got this ages ago, and I got another one in there that I managed to acquire relatively recently before the supply completely dried up. Mostly because I wanted to make sure I had enough filters for my family. So I'm going to pop this one back in its bag. But yeah, the filters do look kind of cool. I just wouldn't recommend breathing through these because there's a very high likelihood that they have asbestos in, and if that shit leaks through into your lungs, you've only got to look up asbestos for that to find the joys that creates. This is like that wax paper that you use in cooking, which I find quite interesting to use it as a wrapping for a gas mask filter. The gas mask filter actually has a date of it of 1978. Now, whether that was when it was made or when it goes out of date, I don't know. But 1978, that's back when the Czech Republic was still part of the Warsaw Pact. aka on the USSR side of the fence. I bet you can tell I find Cold War history absolutely fascinating. I wouldn't mind actually going on a trip to North Korea, actually. I think that would be really interesting. You know, seeing the bizarro communist state firsthand, that would be so strange. It'd be quite interesting to go to China for that reason. At the moment, I'd avoid China like the plague, because it's like the infected. It's basically like the infected zone from 28 Days Later. You don't want to go there. But once this all blows over and we can actually go on holiday again, that would be goddamn amazing. Because I like to travel the world, and yeah, I suppose it's one thing I should use my money for. You know, it's nice to actually do some things. I'm actually surprised you can still get a lot of these filters, to be honest. For reasonable prices as well, rather than ridiculous prices. Some of the masks, I think all the NATO masks go for silly prices. You know, there's one here that is the GSR that is like selling for 255 quid, which is a lot of money. But there are, yeah. But you seem to be able to get the Scott GSR filter, the Scott P3 filters pretty easily. Standard gas mask. If we just do that, so that Polish one, I'm surprised they haven't sold more, to be honest. Because that Polish mask is actually a pretty decent mask. Yeah, it comes with a filter around the bag, so that'd actually be a good one to get. 07 NBC. That would actually be a good mask to get. It's apparently only three available in small adult. Maybe I'll buy one of these because they look pretty decent. Are you on my watch list? No. Are you on my watch list? I don't know. Oh god. This is the thing. I look on eBay and I find things that are interesting that I want. Oh, hang on. What's that? Are you responding to the chat? Because if you are, respond to it on the YouTube chat, not the Facebook one. You okay? Yep. I don't know whether that was anything to do with the video. Anyway. But yeah, that looks like actually a pretty decent one. Right. This is. I swear I have ADHD because I just get distracted by the slightest thing. Where are you? I know you're on the list somewhere. Funny how I had to get a different list depending on whether I look it up on the phone or the See, now you're difficult to tell. So it's an MP5. MP5, not V. There he is. Yeah, most of these are actually going for very sensible prices, actually, which surprises me. You'd think in a crisis like this, these would be exact. Oh, the seller's away. That's why. Anyway, I'm going to stick it in my watch list anyway. Seller away. That doesn't have it. Seller away. Won't be back till 6th of April. I might actually buy one of these. I'd also give another gas mask I can give to another member of the family if they need it. Anyway, he's in the watch list. Okay. Seems a bit of a random message, but hey. But yeah, there's certainly ones on the Star Plus market you can get very easily. Oh, that's a nice kit. It's a little bit out. It's a little bit more than I want to pay, but it's a nice kit. It comes with a lot of stuff. Ah, it comes with an NBC suit as well. That's really cool. There you go. So you can be the mage of radiation. Yeah, you can be the mage of radiation. I don't think we have any viewers now. I think everyone fucked off and I don't know, went and watched porn or something. Whatever most people do whenever they bugger off from live streams. We apparently have 2 viewers, but I don't know how true that is. If you are actually a viewer, pop up the line in the chat. Ah, I'm still here. How new is that? This might be the only one still actually. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised actually if you are the only one that's still watching. The only thing it doesn't tell me is when you posted that or whether I noticed it. Oh yeah, there's definitely a few things. Yeah, they did. Oh yeah, that's one thing you have to be careful with if you collect old lighters, like the old Zippos or something. You could well end up exposing yourself to asbestos and you don't realise it. Which keyboard? My Dell, because yeah, I like my Dell. It's quite a nice keyboard actually. I don't have a buckling. Actually, I do have a buckling springs one, but it's not compatible with modern computers, sadly. But if I could use my IBM 5150 keyboard with my main PC, I would, because if you ask me, this has a far better layout, and if the cable isn't connected to anything, I'll show you why. Good, it's not. And this is one of my biggest complaints with modern keyboards. Where the caps lock key is placed. That thing is placed in the worst sodding place you could put it, because you're pretty much 100% guaranteed to accidentally hit it whenever you're typing, and this happens to me all the time, and it's annoying as all hell. How does the IBM 5150 keyboard do it? It has the control there, so if you accidentally hit it, it doesn't matter. Where is the caps lock key? No, it's not removed because it does have its place, the caps lock key, but the place is not next to the A key. The place is somewhere like down here where you're not going to accidentally hit it every time you bloody try and type a sentence. It's the case of the caps lock key. I'm not in the camp of the caps lock key needs to be removed from the keyboard. It just needs to be moved to a different place that isn't completely retarded. Because where it is on every keyboard that's made and sold these days, and has been since the 1980s, it's just stupid beyond belief. It's just such a stupid place to put it. And they got it right back in 1981. In fact, let's be honest, 1981, there's all kinds of weird-ass keyboard layouts. I think my CAF... Oh, here's a laptop I forgot to mention. The CAF Pro Lite, who's sitting down there. What keyboard? I can't remember whether this uses the caps lock in this stupid place or not. But this laptop has a keyboard that's an absolute joy to use. I'm not going to switch it on and all that. Yeah. This one has the caps lock in a sensible place. AKA not next to the A key. The control key is there.
In fact, the caps lock is very sensible. It's down here under the shift key. Why is that not the case these days? Why not just swap the control key down here with caps lock on all modern keyboards? It would solve so many sodding problems. And you make that a buckling spring keyboard or something. I don't care if it's expensive. I'll buy that shit. Because that will just be such a quality of life improvement that it would make it worth that price. Because the placement of the caps lock key bothers me that much. In fact, it's not uncommon for me to remove the caps lock key off the keyboard and just put it in a pot somewhere so I don't have to use it because it does my head in. Currently, I think all the spare keys that are currently removed from there are in here, this drawer somewhere. I think. I don't know. I don't remember where they. I used to know where they were, but then I moved, and well, a lot of stuff got moved round. Oh, you have a Zippo that has asbestos in. Ooh, that's interesting. Yeah, the good thing about the lighter fluid, it will stop the particles going up, but as it burns and slowly disintegrates, yeah, the asbestos will become airborne. So that's something you should probably more use as a collector's sort of display piece rather than doing the usual jazz. Or you could take the asbestos wick out, put it away somewhere safe and put a modern wick in there. But yeah, asbestos in that does make sense because it's fire resistant, so the wick would last a long time. That is one of the nice things about that. That NBC suit does look a bit like a raincoat. Ah, my PMG gas mask I brought, that's still selling for about £9. That hasn't changed in price. That's pretty good. So yeah, if you want to get one of these. The only thing is they can get a bit really uncomfortable on your jaw after a while. It's like start actually physically hurting your jaw after a while. So fine if you're going out for a quick section, not such a great mask for wearing long term. Depending on the amount of fluid you need to drink, you might want to get one with a drinking straw. And then there's just some like World War II masks that you don't want to buy for something practical. You want to buy as a collector's sort of, nice display piece. I actually do have World War II masks, and they have appeared on the videos before. Not for a long time, so. Here's my two World War II masks. They're both civilian. We have a Belgium L702, these from about 1939, civilian. They have no oral nasal cup, no tubes that direct the air up to the eyepieces, so this thing steams up like all hell. But it's actually quite a nice mask, and I think it still works actually. I'm going to take the filter off. To be honest, I don't really want to wear it because the straps are disintegrating and the rubber's really old. But this filter's worse than most because it doesn't even have a top layer particle filter between your breath and the charcoal. So the asbestos that leaks out from the particle filter would easily go up into your lungs, and I have actually worn this. Thankfully, not for long periods of time, so the damage would have been limited. But funny thing about this, and I'm going to have to get that other NATO filter, is, and this might be one from when the Germans took over Belgium, I don't know the dates off the top of my head. Not only is it 40mm, but it's NATO 40mm. So you can use a modern filter with it, as I shall demonstrate with my Draeger, which is NATO 40mm, and will work with modern
gas masks. The Russians still use GOST, but they currently put export restrictions on them because they want them for themselves. But here is a modern filter screwing and making an airtight seal in a gas mask that is over 70 years old. Which is impressive, actually. That's some impressive design right there. Yeah, that would be because they're not filled with asbestos. Asbestos is one of those materials that's absolutely fascinating and had some absolutely fantastic materials. It just had the uses, it just had the unfortunate side effect of being really toxic to the lungs, because you're basically breathing in rock particles that shred the insides of your lungs. So they have to use modern equivalents, which, let's be honest, some of them just aren't as good as the old asbestos. But I find that really cool. Don't worry, the strap hasn't broken. It's just like got this weird French clip-on system that never bloody stays on. It's quite annoying. These are spent years in the shed, so they're a bit rusty in places. But it's a really nice mask. Looks super weird and creepy as well. The World War I ones are the most creepy, though, in my opinion. Those hood-like PH1 hood ones. But that does actually look really cool. The filter is rusty. I'm going to use my mum's de-rust. I'm going to use the protectors that are on this. Shove them into this so it's waterproof, and then I can just spray the shit out of it with the de-rust stuff. The rubber gasket in this has also perished. But one thing that's always impressive, that you got a gas mask here that's over 70 odd years old, and the rubber's still good on it. You could actually use the masks still. It just shows you the level of quality that went into producing these masks. But then they had to survive against things like blister agents and that, and nerve agents and really corrosive chemicals that, actually, when you think about it, it's no real surprise they survived for so long. Because if they were made out of normal rubber, they would just melt and perish. And then the other gas mask I have from World War II is a British civilian one, which I've also worn for probably far too long periods too, but oh well. Yeah, it does a bit actually. In fact, the Doctor Who Empty Child mask is a bit of a mix between the one of these, because you've got the sort of filter that looks a lot like the standard civilian, and also a what is it called, the mask, the civil defence mask that the like police and that would wear, the one which is like the full thing. It basically looks like this, with this filter on, and just a little like farting whoopee cushion exhale valve there, like whoopee cushion valve type thing there. So that's roughly what it looks like. It doesn't have the valve there, although there were some which had the ability for you to put a microphone in for if you're a radio operator or something. But yeah, you've got the originally they just had the charcoal and asbestos filter in there, but later on they added on the arsenic pre-filter. Now, I don't know exactly what the arsenic pre-filter does, but the nice thing about it is it contains the asbestos, and also it also I guess would have filtered a certain type of nasty new chemical out that the British or Germans developed. But yeah, this mask isn't in fantastic condition anymore. The rubber's starting to perish on it. But this one is actually made in 1938. So literally the year before the war, when they basically were expecting to go to war with the Germans because of how aggressive their actions were. But once again, this is not a mask you want to wear. 2 reasons. Arsenic there, asbestos there, and probably the most important reason to me,
the masks tend to be very fragile these days because of their ages, and the rubber's sort of slowly breaking down and disintegrating over time, and sadly they all will. I don't have any of the World War II military gas masks, sadly. Then the civilian one has this rather nice leather carry case that's much nicer than the cardboard box that was given out standard. So this might have been something the owner added on. Yeah, I love the Doctor Who Empty Child. That's cool. But yeah, the hang on. Let's find out what that is. I think it's World War II civil. There we go, images. Yeah, that's it, it's a civil defence mask. Because it's got a bit of a mix between like this and that, and on. Such a ghetto way of showing it, but yeah, that's what it looks like. It's actually a pretty decent mask, but the trouble is with the these masks was the filters were always exposed to the elements, so the charcoal would eventually run out. But thankfully, World War II didn't go to the point where they used gas. This one is from the 1950s, and it's the British Light Anti-Gas Respirator, I think, Mark II. And this one's actually from 55, so this is mid-50s. Once again, filters have asbestos, so you don't want to use them, breathe through them. This filter has 53 on it, L Mark III. But they actually look quite cool inside, and I actually got to play with one of these when I was a kid, and sadly we didn't buy it, which I regretted for years and years and years. But that one thing of trying on a gas mask when I was a kid was what really got me into gas masks. And when I saw one in a military Star Plus shop in my teens in Canterbury, I brought it up like that. I was just like, yep, my pocket money's going on that. I think I might have actually asked my parents to go to the bank because I wanted to buy it. But this is actually, sadly, the exhale valve voice diaphragm bit is broken, so it doesn't actually pressurise anymore. This would not save your life anymore. My finished mask is with my dad, and just a standard dust mask is with my mum, which I'm hoping she's wearing at work. Because supermarket staff are very vulnerable to this horrible virus thing. So they can all go back. I'm going to put my other filter back. I think bedtime soon. Something like that. Oh, gravity, you bastard. Oh god, I just whacked my arm on the doorway, which was fun. Oh god, got the burps now. I haven't had proper dinner tonight. Oh, I never put the cap back on the smoke alarm. Oh well. It'll eventually be being dismantled. Yeah, it is the British World War II British Civil Defence mask. Yeah, that's what the Empty Child's kind of based on, is the civil defence mask. The only thing is, and the reason why they wouldn't have used an actual World War II one would have been because of like the asbestos risks and that, so they just made one. Just, are you my mummy? There's actually an episode of the Doctor Who where the actor forgot his lines, so when he was wearing the gas mask, he just went to the other actor who was playing the military cap. Hello. playing the other military character and just went, "Are you my mummy?" And I think the thing was like, "Pay attention," was the normal lines. And they kept that in because that just worked. Oh god, I loved Doctor Who back in the days. Apparently the new series is absolute dog shit. What they've done with that woman as the Doctor, which is a shame, really. You know, a lot of I don't think there was really much fuss in the Doctor Who community about the actor being female, but the trouble was she was apparently shit at it, which is no good. You know, you want your actor to still be male, female, to be able to play the part of the character and add their own little spin to it that works really well. Hello. Ah, that's who it is. Yes. How's you doings? We have been discussing exciting topics such as gas masks and Geiger counters and retro computers, and everyone in my family isn't dead or ill yet, which is a plus. I'd love to see outtakes. Yeah. The original outtakes from the classic Doctor Who's and that. Yeah, that would actually be quite cool. Trouble is, BBC used to destroy a lot of their footage in the early days, which is a shame. Ah, there's one of the German military civilian gas masks. These are actually really cool, but if you get them, you want to be careful because for some bizarro reasons, the Germans decided to put asbestos inside the mask, right at the intake point. So you want to be careful there if you get one of those masks, and either leave it alone or safely remove the asbestos. You know, happy stuff. I do have a very dark and fucked up sense of humour that I have never fully demonstrated on YouTube, you know, that goes to the point where I don't even know, but people tend to get a bit funny about like really dark sense of humour, so I generally don't like to put it on a super duper public platform that you can get people look at you and decide they hate your guts or something because you made this really dark, fucked up joke. And I'm pretty good at doing that. I'm pretty good at like taking something really dark and fucked up and just pushing it further and further and further. And then everyone else is just like, you've crossed the line, and I just carry on further and further and further with it. There is no limits with me. I will just continue on with this screwed up, fucked up joke for eternity. Oh, God, what happened there? Don't click random things, Simon. You screw shit up. Don't click random shit, Simon. You screw shit up. Oh no, that's a really interesting gas mask. It's like I still got the civilian gas mask search up, and it's just like I'm suddenly seeing like loads of really interesting old World War II ones. Let's find out when this one is from. Let's go on a bit of a history lesson. I should put it on like the laptop and then put screen share on, but that's more effort than anything can be a joke. Yeah. It's no script blocking something. Sometimes that causes it to do that. What's that? Privilege page. F5. This keyboard actually F5 is actually an F2 key. The internet can't have died because you guys are still connected. Yeah, that page is obviously broken, which is a shame. Oh no, we've got it. Here we go. Civil Defence gas mask and CAD. Ah, is this US civilian? Yeah, this is a US civilian gas mask. I know they did this child Mickey Mouse one that was actually made by Walt Disney, designed by Walt Disney, that looks super creepy. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, thankfully I'm actually in a good position as well that I still have my job. I'm just permanently working from home.
Ah, you're doing... Yeah, I'll put it in a link to your channel in a gas mask related video. I'm here at work.
I've done much sneaky YouTube viewing when at work, even in the office where you just have it on another. But sometimes it's nice just to have something going on in the background. Usually it's like music or something, but I like you want to get people educated into what to get and that. And actually, that's one of the good things about these streams staying up is I actually provided a decent amount of information about sort of what to look for in a gas mask, and especially because a lot of the time over here it's just the Warsaw Pact ones that are available. Getting a NATO filter to basically work with a not Warsaw Pact mask is kind of important, because the NATO filters are a lot easier to get. You can still get like P3 Scott filters for sensible prices. But yeah, you're right, you want to get people educated. I don't know quite how to pronounce it like that, educated or whatnot. But yeah, that's a US civilian gas mask from World War II. There we go, we're learning more about gas masks, which is no bad thing. Because it is like one of my side obsessions. Military stir plus, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's awesome. I think one of the things that kind of attracts me to gas masks is they look a bit creepy. Oh no, I'm working on a YouTube video. Whether you're doing paid work or working on a YouTube video really doesn't matter. You know, as long as you're getting the work done, that's what matters at the end of the day. I mean, today while I was doing my job today, I was watching a whole bunch of North Korean documentaries on in the background, because that's just fascinating to me. I find all the Cold War and Warsaw Pact and communism and communist states to be absolutely fascinating. It just intrigues me. At the same time, I'm also completely anti-communist because I know what it is. But, you know, living fossils such as North Korea are absolutely fascinating. But yeah, it's quite interesting looking down all these photos of various... Oh yeah, the World War II baby gas masks. Which was more of a gas hood that you put over the infant. That's quite a funky looking thing. I've only ever seen them in museums. Ah, that's interesting. A Finnish gas mask with a hose on it. Doggies in gas masks. Annoyingly, I have actually looked for... Oh god, this is quite fun. This is where they put them in human gas masks. But I've actually looked for gas masks for the dog, and they only exist from World War II. But what? Yeah, this is just soldiers pissing about at the barracks in World War II. That is, and the dog's just casually sitting there, just like, ooh, we don't care. Whereas Todd, I remember putting gas mask on Todd, and he just kept trying to shake it off. It was hilarious. Jasper is actually terrified of gas masks, which is amusing in itself. Because, you know, you have a dog and it's like, what will their reaction be to X and X? Like, to me wearing a gas mask. Turns out poor old little Jasper gets absolutely terrified. I have googly eyes on the camera, so one of them just fell off. I've stuck googly eyes on a lot of things around this desk. Yeah, I did put the CAF laptop back. You're an editor. It has failed every time it was tried. Yeah, pretty much it has. You know, every state that's communist has basically failed, and the only one that's made any success out of it is China, and that's because they embraced capitalist ideals. China is not really technically communist anymore. They pretend to be, but they're not really anymore. China is more sort of good old-fashioned, more dictatorship. I'd imagine you'd have had to train the dogs to wear the gas masks back in the day. There are also in World War II gas masks for horses. The funny thing is, out of all the nations, and I'm going to... I actually tested my mum on this. What was the only nation that in the Cold War provided gas masks to all its citizens? Turned out it was the USSR. Sort of ironic, really. The West just decided, yeah, the civilian population will die. Another nation, which does actually in modern day provide gas masks to all its citizens, is Israel, because they have the constant threat of gas attacks from Palestine. Because anyone who knows the whole thing between Israel and Palestine knows that that's just a conflict that has gone on since, well, forever now. Because Israel was actually a NATO ally and actually a democracy. As far as I know, because it's where sort of the Jewish populations set up after World War II, and you can find a lot of cases of history where Israel actually had a specialist division that would go on Nazi hunting, basically looking for SS officers who are involved with the death camps, which is actually another really interesting bit of history I highly recommend you actually look into. In Italy we have communism as I can see. You'd need to be a bit more specific with examples, because one thing I do notice, and the US especially do this, anything that has the name socialism to it, they always automatically associate with communism, because it was just used so interchangeably. So you can get something like universal healthcare is technically a socialist concept, but actually in practicality it's actually a really good concept, because it means everyone can get healthcare and doesn't need to have money to get it. So it's the case of, you always kind of want to have a healthy mix. You don't want to be like super capitalist, super socialist. You kind of want to find that sort of delicate, perfect balance where you sort of reap the best of everything. Otherwise, you end up in a state like in the US where people can't get healthcare, but because they can't afford it, which is just so fucking wrong. There's just no decent excuse that can justify that to me. You know, the US needs its own NHS type system. And in fact, it's even more important now with the whole corona thing going on. Although everyone's healthcare systems are completely overstretched and just like at the breaking point. So people debate. I was discussing this earlier, but basically it's like the case of you've got like a single dad who has like 2 kids versus Joe's grandma. Well, they're like, it's getting to the point, and in some places is at the point where they take grandma off the life support to put the father on there because he's of more actual practical use to society. And you know, it's no longer a theoretical discussion that doctors are having. It's an actual decision they're having to make of who has more value, basically putting value on human life, which is really kind of fucked up when you think about it. But yeah, if you get a bit more specific what you mean by the communism, because, well, I wonder if there's been any experimentation using sound as a weapon. I wouldn't be surprised if there's something locked up somewhere in a government. Mythbusters did the whole brown note thing and found out that was all bullshit. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point in like the height of the Cold War they looked into that avenue. I mean, sound can certainly be a deterrent with like loud, high-pitched noises, and that can very much be a form of non-lethal suppression. I mean, people quite often use those annoying squeaker things against teenagers. I mean, my hearing's starting to go in the higher ranges, so I'm starting to find that I'm not hearing that crap anymore, where it sort of sits between that 15 to 20 kilohertz, and it's horrible noise. It's absolutely horrible. It's ear piercing. It just makes you want to leave the area. And you can certainly use them like that, especially if you're dealing with like young rioters or something. You play that over really powerful loudspeakers. But I don't know if sonic weaponry really made it out of the prototype stage, but you can certainly use it as a deterrent. I don't know if you could make it lethal. But you can certainly use it against young protesters or something. Just make really loud, horrible noise that's going to make people cover their ears and want to get out of there. And then because I'm on the autistic spectrum, I have the whole sensory overload problem. And one of them is sound. Sound is a big thing for me. So if something's too loud, I will generally try and get the hell out of there. That's why I love my noise cancelling headphones so much, because I can just sort of drown out the worst of the horrible loud sounds. I like that. My mother-in-law, when she speaks, makes sounds very harmful to health. That classic old thing of the mother-in-law jokes. Funny thing is, back when I was dating my technically mother-in-law, she was actually really nice. And then Aiden's nan was a bit like a surrogate grandmother to me. I miss her dearly. Because I lost my grandmother back in she died sometime around the 2008 recession from memory. That's how long ago it was. Oh, she missed everything. She missed university graduations, engagements, babies, everything. It's like nothing happened for years while she was alive, and then she died and everything interesting happened in the family. Weddings, divorces, engagements. One thing that made me laugh actually at work was one of my work colleagues was saying they had someone who was one of their friends who was engaged, and they broke up, and they were sort of comforting their friend, and my thing was to me, it's like, you should tell them, don't get married, just have affairs. And it's just like, remember, I was in that situation once where I was technically engaged. So, and you can tell them that, and that's my bit of advice to them. It's just like, oh yeah, I forgot about that, he said. Found that quite, I don't know if he passed that little bit of wisdom on or not, but... Yeah, I got married in 1995. Imagine how much my ears suffered. Yeah, that's the thing when you're with someone for a long period of time, is you will get pissed off and nag at each other, and that is just a given of it. You know, there will be those times where you just hate each other's guts over just sometimes the most asinine, pointless things. They'll be, when you're with someone all the time, you will piss them off, and they will piss you off. It's a given. It's really dependent on how you deal with that really defines what I like to call the adults from the children, or man children. I see many interesting things behind you. Yes, on that side you got my entire vintage computer collection. Directly behind me is the back end of my now L-shaped workbench. I can actually give you guys a closer view, actually. I do want to do a workbench tour. This is the messiest room in the house because it's my workshop room. Let's unplug you from the power. Oh, don't kill the camera. Oh, God. Oh, that's wrapped up on something. Hang on. I've got to unmangle the cables down here. So if we go to this side, we can see the workbench, and as you can see, I'm working on a ZX81 there. Something else is working on over there that's sort of half done. You know, you got your usual stuff, spectrum analyzer there, which is barely ever used, oscilloscopes, power supplies, radio, more oscilloscopes. The good old Rigel DS1054Z, which is actually a really nice scope. Some drawers with more tools and stuff in. Chest of drawers, which I modified. Computer desk. The nice thing was, although it's just basically utilised furniture, that chest of drawers was from the parents. They're just like, do you want that? It's like, you can use it for your workbench. It's like, oh, great idea. But yeah, it's ended up quite nice in here, and then I've need to do more on the power routing, but I don't know how much more of that's going to go. But here's a better look at the vintage computer collection. Then we got the cabinet here with storage, basically. There's the word processor thing down there. Yeah, getting the tiny CRTs is not always the easiest thing to do. There's a lot of luck to it, right? Are you going to focus on distant stuff, or are you going to continue being an arsehat camera? Come on. Oh, Jesus. Why does it do this? Okay, it looks like it's trying to autofocus now. Come on, autofocus. Yeah, I managed to get hold of like one of these old CCTV monitors, and then I was lucky enough to find an old CRT module from like an ATM machine that someone was selling on eBay for $5, and so I used that. Oh, there we go. It's decided to go back into focus now. So I swapped it to the green screen CRT, and it looks cooler now. Then we've got something about these vintage computers keeps making this camera go out of focus, so you're just gonna have to deal with it. When I figure out how to get HDMI capturing, then I will do that with the Sony A55. And there's my CCTV camera monitor that I've mounted on the wall that has cameras outside, so I can see all entrances to the house. So if anyone tries anything, I know they're there before they know I know they're there. And it looks like it's been raining out there as well. There's my printer. As usual, I pile stuff on top of it. And the hallway going to my bedroom, where you can see Hetty the Hoover. And it goes out of focus again. Yes, you'll be... Yeah, I was going to say, when I said you were working on a video to do with a smaller view CRT, I was going to say, old camcorder viewfinders. And then I saw viewfinder from an old camcorder. It's like, yep, that's usually where you'll find the smallest CRTs you can get. You also might be able to get some really ancient night vision equipment, but once again, getting hold of night vision equipment for sensible prices is really difficult. That shit's expensive. Went down the wrong hole, not the CCP virus. The photo multiplier, doohickey, whatever you call them, image intensifier tube that I do have, I've never actually managed to get it to power up. Yeah, I've got one 90s camcorder now that hasn't been taken apart. I've taken apart like the old Sony one that was my dad's years and years ago. I should go to bed because I got work tomorrow. But I'm not feeling that tired, to be honest. That's the trouble being home all the time, is I'm not getting tired, so I'm getting my weird nocturnal sleep schedule back that I had at uni. Oh well. I just end up working weird hours in the end. Just be working non-standard hours. Which for me works. But yeah, that's the best place to get those old CRTs, is old video cameras and that. And you can still get them pretty cheap on eBay, you know, if you do like vintage video camera. You can get them pretty cheap. Probably the market's been flooded with a lot of crappy 2000 stuff these days, though. But no, not CCTV, although we have got some stuff. Video. Yep, there's something from the 90s. There's another one, 20, 17 quid, 25, 38. And it's gone up a bit from the 90. I've noticed that. A lot of the 99p stuff from eBay is pretty much gone now, which is a real shame. 25, 20, 20. Oh, there's something for 99p, but it's a Super 8 camera. So you can get the Super 8 ones pretty cheap. But if we go to... lowest price first, because it never shows you the lowest. You can still pick up plenty of these old video cameras to use as parts units or projects, teardowns and stuff. You know, it's not like they're rare. You know, there's an old 80s VHS camera you can get for a tenner and that kind of jazz. Thankfully, there doesn't seem to be a lot of collectors of old video cameras, so they tend to go quite cheap. With a few exceptions here and there of particular types that might be particularly desirable. A lot of the time it's the film cameras people tend to collect rather than early digital or video cameras. Oh wait, my eBay won't work on here because my PC isn't signed into that anymore. That's nice. I'm going to close you because you just appeared for that chat and I'm just like, are you okay? Yes, okay. Fair enough. I was wondering if there was a thing of maybe it was their way of subtly trying to say help, but being so subtle that autistic me doesn't pick up on that. Yeah, it's always handy to have a few old video cameras. They're good for general parts in general. In fact, I fixed this with a eject motor from the old video camera, but this was a 2000s video camera that used it was the DV tapes, not the mini DV tapes. That's it, the earlier digital video tapes. The thing that was wrong with it there was basically this has a shutter motor that recocks the shutter, and the motors on them basically wear out. The brushes I would show you, but that camera's not going to be able to pick it up. Have basically worn out, so I got a eject motor which was roughly about the same size. It was slightly smaller, I think, but worked a treat. Now this camera works and I can use it for YouTube videos, which means people get something they've been asking for years, which is decent video with decent audio. And now I can give them that. Because, I'll be honest, I've never been willing to put any money into the channel because it would be a net loss at the end of the day. It's done purely as a hobby. I don't make a penny off of it. I even set up a donation thing, but unsurprisingly, no one's actually done a PayPal donation. I can imagine if I set up a Patreon account and had people coming in for patrons, it would basically be a ghost town. I'd probably have to think of all these stupid perks, but then if you're going to be, I wouldn't really want to do that because I know I just wouldn't keep up with the perks. I wouldn't want to charge money for something and then not offer it. That's fraud right there. That's why I've never done the Patreon thing, because I just know I just wouldn't bother maintaining it. I kind of like things which I can I like the fire and forget. Set it off to do its thing and then just forget about it. It's the thing I've been doing with the BitChute experimentation. I found that is absolutely useless because it's only backed up about 2 videos. That actually the BitChute is absolutely useless, so that's already been abandoned now. And the thing that was supposed to back up your backlog of videos didn't work. So that's absolutely useless. I've heard there's another one that can potentially be one for doing that, but we shall see whether that works out. If it does, fantastic. If it doesn't, oh well. But yeah, finding a service that backs up from YouTube seems to be like nigh on impossible. Which is a real shame, because YouTube can just decide, I hate you, I'm deleting your channel, and you can do nothing about it. That's why I don't like relying on Google for shit, really. You know, it's nice to have a backup somewhere. But yeah, if you can get hold of Military Star Plus, Warsaw Pack gas masks and NATO filters, you can use the O-rings to make them fit. I wouldn't recommend doing it with a really collectible gas mask though. But the collectible gas masks aren't going to be the ones you get for cheap. And I wouldn't recommend using World War II gas masks because the filters have asbestos in, and the British filters are especially bad because they have blue asbestos in, which is the worst and most dangerous kind. I highly recommend actually looking up the mineral asbestos because it's really quite an amazing and fascinating mineral actually. But anyway, I'm getting tired now. I got work tomorrow, which means sitting in here and rat-a-tat-tatting away at the keyboard all day, but only this keyboard. Ow. So I'll be rat-a-tat-tatting at that keyboard and all that good jazz. But yeah, I'm gonna head off and go to bed basically because I'm getting tired now. It's just the weird resolution of what I've got this camera set up to because that turned out to be good for the throughput. Yeah, there's about 3 main types. There's actually 6 types in total, but there only seem to be 3 that are mentioned used in industry, so I don't know what happened with the other 3. But yeah, there's about 6 types of variants of the asbestos mineral. God, the amount of random shit I know that's just a thing. The most commonly used version was white asbestos, which is the safest of the dangerous asbestoses. Because I've also heard from some bizarre sources that there are variants of asbestos that are still used that are actually safe. How true that is, I wouldn't believe them. I would still make sure if you're handling anything with asbestos, you need this kind of stuff. And you want a P3 filter as well. P2 isn't enough to filter out all the little bastard bits of rock particles. So just be careful there if you're going to be handling anything asbestos or taking things apart that have because that's the thing, if you do like vintage radio or TV repair, you can find there's actually asbestos used in the cabinets and that for, I don't know, like fire protection and that, because there was actually a problem with early televisions bursting into fire because flames was they overheated. So it could have like asbestos inside the cabinet to sort of act as a fire protectant, so the whole thing wouldn't just go. So that is actually something just to be aware of. That if you come across it, you know, wear your gas mask. I don't think you need the eye protection with asbestos, but if you got the full face thing, use the full face thing. If you only got the half face thing, then use that. That will at least protect your lungs. I haven't heard of asbestos actually doing anything bad in the eyes. It's really the lungs that it really shreds to pieces. Let's put my Czech CM4 back in his bag. It's also came with a nice little medi kit, which has actually it has water purification chlorine pills in it that you drop into about 750 millilitres of water. Leave it for about yeah, you got it right there. Yes, you found it in your jukebox. And that's the case of where you want to use a gas mask if you're going to be doing anything around that asbestos, because even if used as a thermal insulator, it was actually used as that, as well as insulation for high voltage, like in fuse boards and that. It's not uncommon to have an old house with a few fuse box in it that's old enough that it uses asbestos as a fire protectant in there on the back panel. So when the thing goes up in an arc, it doesn't set fire to the rest of the house. I mean, that's actually a pretty sensible use for asbestos. It's just the trouble is when it gets old, it starts to disintegrate. I mean, there were sensible uses for asbestos, and there are just some stupid uses for asbestos, like fake snow in the 50s. If there was any fake snow in the year 50s, it was white asbestos. And in fact, in the original Wizard of Oz, that snow that you see in that film, that's asbestos. And the actors would be inhaling those fibres. I don't know whether they actually suffered any ill effects from it, but there are... Fucking hell. That just drives me mad shit doing that all the time. Right, let's retrieve them. Oh, now it's fucked up my Nixie clock. Thank you, you bastard. Brilliant. I'll deal with that tomorrow. I'm not going to deal with that tonight, stupid bastard. But yeah, he's uses all sorts. But yeah, that was one of the more stupid uses of asbestos, was using it as fake snow. Sensible uses like fire protectants and that. Yeah, that's the trouble when it gets old and starts to disintegrate, as old stuff tends to do. Then it becomes airborne. Yeah. That's how they did the old snow. And then of course, you got old buildings are riddled with it, you know. The UK, you can find asbestos everywhere because it was a cheap building material. And after the war, they needed to put up buildings cheaply to house people. So asbestos is absolutely bloody everywhere in the UK. The only place it doesn't exist is in new builds, but there's plenty of old builds that are filled with it. It's like my ex's house, because it was an ex-council estate from the 1960s. Once again, you know, it turns out like the ceilings were made of asbestos and stuff, and it's like one of those things that if I actually did, if instead of getting a new house like I did and I got an old house, I would actually hire an asbestos contractor to go round and test everything, so I know 100% where the asbestos is and where to avoid doing the DIY shit and running cables and all that, because you don't want to end up wiring an Ethernet into a wall that's fucking made of asbestos. This is going to need refilling before bed. Might as well just down it, so I'm guaranteed to need the piss in the middle of the night. Do you need to go on charge? No. Oh, there's a YouTube notification. Someone like, yeah, that's a comment I made on that. Yeah, I am okay, so I'm good. I'm not dead. But yeah, asbestos is a fascinating material, but yeah, if you're going to be handling it, you play safe. As I say with any of these things, it doesn't matter whether you're playing with high voltage or whatnot. Know the risks, so you know how to play, so you know how to handle the risks and the potentially hazardous stuff. Say, I've never been a fan of do not try this at home. No, research what the hazards are, know them, so you can take the appropriate safety precautions. Because a lot of the time I give off the impression that I don't give a fuck about health and safety. Depends on the type of health and safety. If it's stuff that can be permanently damaging to you or kill you, I do give a shit. But if it's something that's just going to nick your hand and make you bleed for a bit, I don't care. That heals. It's the permanent stuff that you want to watch out for. You know. All that good shit. Anyway, I'm going to be off now because I need to go to bed and sleep so I can function tomorrow because, well, I'm still on the payroll and that's a good thing in this climate with what's going on. Because there's a lot of people out there who aren't. Or they're relying on the government benefits. Right, how do we make this thing stop? But thanks to those of you who were here for the stream. It's always appreciated when people actually come along and stick along. And we should see you in a future video at some point. So thanks for watching, and I hope you all enjoyed. And hopefully we can pass on the useful, because this is actually a stream that actually has useful information in for once. It's not just me being a dumbass for entertainment value, which is a rarity, let's be honest. Thanks for watching. Yes, I do want to end it.